Hello everybody and welcome back to another Kings of War battle report. I'm Visibly Riley, and today we have Salamanders versus Elves. Again! This battle was fought at 2250 points, and the scenario was loot. Since I haven't been able to use Easy Army to put up army lists at the beginning of these videos, I decided that I was a little tired of that, and I would just take a quick screenshot using Battlescribe instead. These army lists are available down below in the Google Drive folder, although they will not have stats. We can see about that in the future as I could upload them, but for now, we will just do without. Starting out with my opponent's list, we have a Honor Guard of the Green Lady formation, which involves a horde of Kindred Tall Spears, 2 regiments of Palace Guard and the Green Lady herself, followed by a horde of Kindred Archers with the Heart-Seeking Chant, a horde of Thoranian Sea Guard, a horde of Draken Riders with the Brew of Strength, 2 ASBs, 1 with the Diadem of Dragonkind, 1 with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness, 2 Elven Mages, one of whom has Drain Life and the other has Martyr's Prayer, and then 2 Bolt Throwers. I am missing quite a few points, and in fact I just saw where some of them are, which is that this Diadem of Dragonkind ASB actually has a horse. So yep, that's some of the points, but not all of them. Oh, that's some great AR right there, guys. But as for my opponent's list and my thoughts on it, it's very similar to what he played last time back in 2018. You might be able to figure out which battle that was. I'm not sure which one it was, but it's just a change on that list to bring it into line with 2019, meaning that he can't spam Martyr's Prayer anymore. I think it's interesting. I don't like the Bolt Throwers very much, and I think he has too many heroes here. So like, I'd probably drop the Bolt Throwers personally, I'd drop this Drain Life Mage, and I might even drop this ASB with the Diadem of Dragonkind, as he's already sitting on an ASB and the Green Lady, who are inspiring, and if he wants to, he can make one of these mages also inspiring. And then I'd probably invest those points into more units, but that's just me, and we'll see how it does. Moving on to my army, this is the same one I've been running lately, but at least this time it's written up. So starting out, we have the Crew of the Ember's Dance, which involves 3 troops of Corsairs and a Firebrand, or I guess the Firebrand, followed by the Inspiration of the Ancients, which involves 2 regiments of Ancients and a Clan Lord, who I gave the Banner of the Griffin and a mount. Then I brought 2 troops of Gekota Hunters, a horde of Tyrants, 2 hordes of Ancients on Rhinosaurs, one of whom has the Brew of Haste, and then I've got a Battle Captain who is mounted, and a Mage Priest with Bane Chant 2 and Martyr's Prayer 7. So, I've been playing this list quite a bit. I do like it as far as Salamander armies go. Salamanders, of course, are a bit of an acquired taste, but I do enjoy playing it. It's very straightforward. There are some small changes I'll probably toy around with in the future if I continue playing the army, which involves stuff like taking these Gekota Hunters, who I think do fine, and swapping them out for the cheaper Gekota, I can't remember what they're called, Braves, maybe? But they lose a speed, they lose Pathfinder, and they lose Stealthy, and they lose the range attacks, but the only bit of that I really care about is the -1 speed. In exchange, they cost 30 points less each, which would give me 60 points to play with in terms of magic items for the list, which could go a long way to making it so the Rhinosaurs get you to double 1 town that much quicker. As if the Rhinosaurs hit you and you don't die, that's pretty bad for this army. So I might play with that in the future, we'll see. Moving on to the table, let's start with what the terrain is. It was a little anemic today, as there were tons of people at my local game store, which is great for them and bad for me. But yeah, seriously, there was like 2 games of, I want to say like 2 games of War Machine and like 3 games of 40k, which is bleh. But anyway, starting in the left-hand corner, we've got a height 4 little thatchet roofed house. And then moving to the right, we have a height flat pond sort of thing. And then over here to the right again, we have a height 6 forest. These little buildings in here, the, little graveyard features, those are just trees for this game to, visually signify that these are woods and not flat pieces of terrain, as we were out of trees, as for whatever reason, some of these guys decided that they really needed to have all the trees in the store in one table. Anyway, moving again to the right, we have another height 4 piece of impassable terrain. Then moving to the left of that, we have a height 2 hill. To the center, we've got another height 4 building, and again to the north, we have a second height 6 forest. And then over here to the left, we have a height flat piece of terrain over here, and then a wizard tower, which we might as well run as height 8, but doesn't really matter that much. And lastly, towards the center again, we have a second height 2 hill. So yeah, it's a pretty standard table as far as I build them, which is to say we like to limit the charge lanes and the line of sight lanes. So these hills are great things to place towards the center because they don't limit charge lanes, but they do limit line of sight. So they limit charges a little bit, but not too much. While you can't just set up a, for example, an archer horde here and see the entire table because of this building here and this hill in terms of non-chariot archers. So yeah, with what we have, I think it worked pretty well. As for the scenario, loot is you draw a center line, which I did a great job there. But this loot counter right here is on the actual center of the table. You place that down, and then each player, you roll off to see which one deploys a loot counter first. I won the roll, and I placed this one on the left-hand side, just to put it a little behind this hill, just to shield from shooting in case I got my opponent's side. I'd be shielded from this area, and on my side, I'm shielded on this area. But yep, so that's the idea. My opponent placed the other one. These are loot counters, so at the end of a phase, if you are on top of it, you can pick, or in base-to-base contact, you can pick up the loot counter, and then at the end of the game, for each loot counter that you have control of, you have 1 victory point. So, out of 3, that's what you get. And that's about it. So moving on to the armies themselves. Over here on the right, we have my opponent's horde of Dragon Riders, which are these Retribution of Syra models. Then to the left of that, we have a horde of Spearmen, or Spear Elves, which actually caused a bit of a problem, but we'll talk about that later. For me, they weren't actually a problem. Behind them, we have the 2 Bolt Throwers. Oh, actually, this guy's sneaking through. Actually, behind the Spear Elves, we have our first wizard, that is the Martyr's Prayer one. Then to the left of that, we have a horde of Therenian Sea Guard. Behind them, the ASB with the Diadem of Dragon, or not the Diadem, the Loot of Insatiable Darkness. And again, the Bolt Throwers are right there for reference. Over here by the woods, since the next picture is a little muddy, this guy right here, that is the Wizard with Drain Life. And then next to him, we have the horde of, that was terrible, horde of archers with the Heartseeking Chant. In front of them, we have the 2 regiments of Palace Guard, and then behind them, we have the mounted ASB. You can see his elongated base with the Diadem of Dragonkind, and then this painted blue fellow is, I guess, Adeptus Green Lady today. So yeah, that's the Green Lady. And actually, I guess I forgot to talk about that formation. So in the Green Lady's formation, the Spear Elves, which are over here, and then both these Palace Guard gain Regen 5+, which is pretty good on all those units. So it's a pretty cool formation in my opinion. Anyway, that's my opponent's deployment. Moving on to the Salamanders. Over here, we have my Battle Captain, my mounted Battle Captain. And then next to him, we've got my first horde of Rhinosaurs with nothing. And then we have the second horde of Rhinosaurs with a giant Crocagator, I guess. That one has, excuse me, the Brew of Haste. Then we have my Battle Captain with the Mount and the Banner of the Griffin. Then to the left of that, we have, at least from my opponent's side, we have my first regiment of Ancients with nothing. Behind them, the first troop of Gekota Hunters. Then we have my horde of Tyrants. Behind them, we have my Mage Priest with, again, Bane Chant and Martyr's Prayer, along with its Fireball 10. Then we have the second regiment of Ancients with the second troop of Gekota Hunters behind them. And finally, off to the left here, we have my 3 troops of Corsairs, along with the Firebrand. So we'll move forward into the turns, and I'll explain my battle plan once we can get a better picture of it. So moving on to turn 1. After Vanguard and rolling, the Salamanders win turn 1, or win the roll-off to go first. So they choose to, since the Elves have me outranged, and that was sort of my plan anyway. So if I won the roll, obviously I was going to try to go first, as the Elves have better range than I do. I have very limited, as I'm down to basically, I think actually literally just those pistols and my fireball here. So all 12 inches. But that's all I need, she said. I move forward with these guys with my vanguard, and then double their, or move, not at the double, but move forward to get into range of shooting. My idea here in the battle is that I want to take the center and the left token and just sort of forfeit the right token, because I only need 2 to win. And this left token is very difficult for me to hold, as I have a big forest sitting here, and I'm not very Pathfinder-y. So yeah, I don't really want to deal with it. And my opponent actually obliged, because I put down all my Corsairs over here, and he just started stacking this flank. So yeah, you know, the Threnian Sea Guard, the Spear Elves, and the Dragon Riders are all over here. So I'm just looking to hold out as long as I can on the right, and then take the center and the left. So that's the idea, and to push it, I just get into the center, push it, and I don't grab any of the tokens just yet. I'm not in range of the center or the left ones, and on the right, I'm not sure if I did this correctly, but I choose not to take the token, because I don't want it. Because if I die, he can pick it up automatically, while this overrun, he actually can't overrun as my Firebrands right here, if he charges into these guys. And grab it anyway. So that's, you know, you can leave a comment below if I'm wrong about that, but I choose to not pick up the token. And with my shooting, I shoot all of it into this unit of Spear Elves, which I thought were the Threnian Sea Guard. And it's no problem of my opponent's, it's a problem of mine. He was clear about it beforehand. I played against him before, but in my head I was just like, oh, those are the, you know, the Sea Guard, they don't have regen. So yeah, I pour all these shots in here, and it wouldn't have really mattered, as I would have shot at them anyway. But all my Corsairs fire into these guys and put a decent hurt on them. I think I do 13 or 14 wounds, but unfortunately I can't seal the deal, and I don't even get a waiver. So that region will be put to work during Elf turn 1. So Elf turn 1, oh nope, this is the end of round shot. Yeah, you can see the damage on them. And over here on the left, I've just made it so my Rhinosaurs are both in charge range. So I'm in charge range of the Palace Guard already. If he backs up at all, these guys will still be in range. And yeah, it's a bit of a problem with that left side, as he's got the Palace Guard, but then these are archers. So I think that if the archers had been swapped with the Sea Guard, he'd be a little better off. That way he'd have a more mixed approach here. But anyway. And turn 1 for the Elves, you can see the charges. The Dragon Riders go into 1 unit of Corsairs, the Spear Elves into another. With their regen, they regen quite a few wounds off. I think it's 6 of the 14 it looked like they had before. And then this guy heals 4 off of them, so they're down to a mere 4 wounds right now, which is not what you want to see, especially when I have nothing on the left here. But I guess it's going according to plan, just not better than plan. So yep, he's got those 2 charges. On the left, he doesn't really move forward at all, which I guess is fair. The Threnian Sea Guard are likely going to be in range of shooting anyway, or they're definitely in range of shooting, but they're likely in range of charging if I move forward anyway. And the archers don't want to be anywhere near all this Rhinosaur nonsense, all this dinosaur nonsense even. So yeah, they're just ready to do that. The Palace Guard advance forward. I'm not sold on that, but I think he could have backed up and then lured at least one of my hordes of Rhinosaurs over here to try to pounce on it with this, or maybe all the archers go in there. But, you know, it's an idea. I don't think my opponent has played against Salamanders that often, or if he has, it's been a long time since the Salamander army I'm actually borrowing right now, which is these guys, belongs to a guy who's mostly been playing my elves. So, anyway, in the combats here, yeah, these guys have 30 attacks. He's healed them down to, they've healed down to 3 wounds. And then I believe he also gets the Bane Chant on them, just, you know, add insult to injury. And yeah, they blow pretty easily right through these Corsairs, while these ones fight against the Dragon Riders and die. They die horribly. But yeah, they're gone. Not long for the world. Actually, this is a good bit here, just because he was going for 2s anyway, as he has Crush 1, Thunder 1, right? But that Brew of Strength was throwing me for a loop the entire game, because I'm so used to Dragon Riders, you know, you charge into them, strip them with the Thunderous, and then they wound you on 3s or 4s, right? But getting +1 crushing isn't all that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. But right here, as we are wont to do on this channel, we take pictures of all the double ones. So my opponent shoots his bolt throwers, I want to say, and the Tyranian Z-Guard into this Corsair unit. And even though this is not a double one that matters, as my opponent needed a 5 to break me, still took a picture of it because it was kind of funny. But yeah, at least one of my Corsair units is still up and running. And here is the end of turn 1 completely. So we've got both my Corsairs gone, no elves are gone, and basically no damage, as the Spear Elves are down to 3 wounds. This Wizard has taken 4 because of Martyr's Prayer, and nothing else. You can see that the Dragon Riders have faced more towards the center of the table. I've taken a few wounds on my Rhinosaurs from the Elven shooting. He put 6 on me. Thankfully I'm at -20, so there wasn't even a roll, but still I'm going to need to clean off some of these wounds if I want to push into him. So moving on to turn 2. So turn 2, yeah, it feels good charging on turn 2 against elves, I'll tell you that. And over here on the right, I send my Firebrand into the Dragon Riders, mostly because I need them grounded. I mean, sacrificing the Firebrand there, but you know, everything's a sacrifice. It doesn't really matter what it costs. These guys, the Corsairs, I move over here to the loot counter just to bug these elves, and I just couldn't figure out what to do with them. They could have, I guess, tried to, no, I don't think they could. Yeah, they wouldn't fit here because of the 1-inch gap. They needed to be away from the Spear Elves, and there's no way to just walk past him and not get charged, so I don't know. The Gekota Hunters, this is another bad idea. I guess I move them forward here just in case he got a double 1, and then I can drop the token, grab it with the Gekota, and then just sort of scoot off. But he'll probably catch me, so I'm not sure what they're doing either. I did move them forward to get some shots in, so now I have the Corsairs and the Gekota, which isn't all that bad, and would actually be really good if he hadn't healed, you know, 11 wounds off of them that I did last round. So, not the best. In the center, I move forward with my Ancients taking this center objective, or the center loot token, and my Tyrants to back them up against the Tyranian Z-Guard over here. My other Ancients move forward to threaten these Archers and anything else that gets in their way, while my Rhinosaurs take the bait, go into the Palace Guard, and get a little help from my Battle Captain, while the other Rhinosaurs just move over and grab the loot token. I made a small mistake here, which is I didn't move them as far forward as they could be. I think that they should have been as far forward as they can, so right about here, and then getting ready to drop the loot counter, because I need to drop it closer to my troops, and I want to be closer for that counter charge. So small mistake there. Last mistake I made, which is these Gekota here. I just sort of set up on autopilot for this game, and they're following around my Ancients to, you know, stop they're being chaff, right? They're stopping some counter charges, but I don't really need it against this elf army, as it's so small, it's so elite, and so focused on shooting that I just don't need to be there. I think that these Gekota Hunters definitely need to be rolling this way to grab this loot counter, since that's obviously what they're going to do anyway. Just another mistake by me. But anyway, moving forward. So it looks like I have 6 wounds here, and that's because I do at the time. I'm looking to heal that off with my Mage Priest with Martyr's Prayer, or at least some of it, before I get in here, just because I am worried about the amount of firepower he still has. And if I've got 6 on me, I mean, he has, excuse me, a Fireball 10, 20 piercing shots, and then 6 piercing shots, or another, I think that Mage might also have Fireball. But yeah, he's got at least another 6 shots over there, so that's quite a few. He could pop me, so looking to get rid of these guys and maybe get some heals going. This combat, yeah, not really looking for anything. I'm looking for a wound, but beyond that, who cares? And yeah, here it is. Double ones, number 2 of the game. Oh, 1-1 for my opponent and me. So yeah, again, I do 2 wounds to the Dragon Riders, which isn't all that bad considering my attacks, but I do get that dreaded double 1. So ooh, look out, guys. And this is the shot of the end of the turn. So you can see I actually did quite a few wounds to the Spear Elves again. I think they're on 10 wounds right now, meaning that you know, I've done 21 wounds to them so far. So yeah, I've done a fair amount of damage, but not enough due to regen and Martyr's Prayer. While thankfully on the left here, I have managed to wipe out the Palace Guard And on my overrun, this was planned with the battle captain, which is I can only overrun to about here because this is a 1-inch gap, right? So I have to stay 1 inch away from this guy, and once I overrun, I'll still be within 6 inches of my my Banner the Griffin, and I'll make it so these Palace Guard can't charge past me to get into the front, which is the side that they're in for the Rhinosaurs here. So they'll have to charge into my Battle Captain, and I don't know if they can really drop him in one go, as he's, with the Banner the Griffin there, guy, he's a Def 5, 13-15, and they've only got 12 attacks and Crush 1. So, we'll see. It's a little dicey. But even if he gets it, he'll charge into the front of the Rhinosaurs, and I definitely don't think he can do that. Because, yeah, I mean, if he hits and wounds with every attack, he still needs a 6. Or no, he needs an 8 to kill me, so not really worried. But again, the right is definitely down. The center isn't the prettiest, as these Tyranian can get into me, but I'm not super afraid. So, we'll see. Let's go. Turn 2 Elves. They're getting into the fight. The Draken Riders over here on the right charge into my lone little Firebrand, while the Spear Elves go for their second kill of Corsair meat. Nom nom nom. I'm going to take them out, while my poor Gekotah just stare at him. Yeah, it looks like I did get him up to 10 wounds, so I've done 21 so far. And then in the center, you can see his Tyranian Sea Guard have gone into my Ancients. With the loot counter, it seems like a solid plan, but maybe not the best plan. I mean, maybe peppering them with some shots first would have been good, just because he's completely unsupported there. And yeah, maybe he should have gone for some shots. Shots, everybody. Anyway, because he could have stayed out of 10 of me, right, by just going over here, and then still shot at me. Granted, it's on 6s if he needs to move, but I don't think he did. I think he was like 11-ish inches away. So anyway, on the left, you can see that the 2nd Regiment of Palace Guard go into my Battle Captain, hoping to clear out that Battle Captain quickly, and the other mages just sort of meander about. The Green Lady moves over here, Drain Life guy goes over here, and his ASB with the Diadem just moves in front of my Horde, hoping to block up the Rhinosaurs, although I don't think he can block up the Ancients right now. But yep, seems like a solid plan. And in this combat, my opponent does quite a few wounds, ends up doing 10 wounds to me, but even with 10 wounds, he needs a 6 to break him, and doesn't roll it, so the Firebrand continues to stand alone. In the center, not as lucky. These guys, they fold like a deck of cards, and to add insult to injury, the stupid Martyr's Prayer heals these 4 wounds off, so these guys are down to 1 die again of wounds, although maybe he hasn't even rolled regen yet. He gets pretty low on wounds here. I know he ends up martyring 4 off. And right here, yeah, my opponent rolls, I think, pretty well. He's only got 25 attacks on 4s and 4s because he gets Banechan off, right? So 25 attacks on 4s and 4s, so that's like, you know, 14, 15-ish hits with quick math. And then what is that, like 6 or 7 wounds, right? Ends up doing 10, which is a little frightening, as I'm only a dash 17. I don't have Banner over here, so look at Banner Michael. Thankfully doesn't pop him, because I do have that loot counter, and I'm not sure the Tyrants could do this on their own against unwounded Tyranian Guard. Thankfully on the left, things continue coming up Millhouse, and while he does do 5 wounds to my Battle Captain, which I think is about average, he does not manage to break him, and in fact doesn't even waver him due to the Banner of the Griffin. So thankfully for that. And here is the end of the round. So yeah, you can see the Battle Captain's still here. You can see that the Ancients sitting on 10 wounds, and then over here on the left, the Dragons held up for another turn. That's great. The Spear Elves continue their rampage. That's less great. Yeah, it looks like the regen wasn't all that much, or none at all maybe. So yeah, we move on to turn 3. So turn 3 for the Salamanders. Again, we get into the fight. Over here on the right, you can see that the Firebrand that was here just sort of uses individual and nimble to scoot around and get into this Martyr's Prayer Priest ASAP, hoping, well, I'm not really sure, like, this wasn't like a master plan, obviously. I just went, I'm not gonna do anything against those dragons, and I'm actually already protected with my ancients against the dragons because of this house, so there's no real reason to be afraid, so I just go into the wizard instead. The Gecko Tile that I misplaced have moved forward. They've taken 1 wound because these bolt throwers shot at them, but anyway, they've taken 1 wound. They're just getting in the way of the Spear Elves. I want them down here, and well, I guess I should have actually moved down here. Another mistake by me. These guys should probably be over here because I want to drag these guys as far away from the battle as possible, but I don't. I move forward because I'm smart. I drop the loot counter with my ancients and pick it up with my Gecko Tile, so they're on their way back now. My mage priest, who's dropped his wounds over here, actually got 6 wounds with Martyr's Prayer in that turn, where I healed my Rhinosaurus, so that's great. But unfortunately last turn, because of all the shooting, my Rhinosaurus took 9 wounds. So yeah, we'll see how many we can get this time. It's 5. It's 5 wounds. So I heal quite a few with Martyr's Prayer. It's pretty good. I don't know if you've heard. And then I take my Rhinosaur horde over here that hasn't tasted combat. They drop their token behind this hill down here, move on up, and charge right into the Palace Guard, hoping to match the effects of their brothers over here, who charge into another ASB, the Diadem and Dragonkind one. And I take my unfettered little battle captain here and go into the Green Lady, who I momentarily forgot was the Green Lady, but I probably still would have done this because stopping her ability to fly and heal is pretty great. So go in there. And lastly, my ancients have a cheeky little charge into the archers. They are hindered because they charge through this mausoleum of woods. Or woods and mausoleums, I guess. But go in there, but they're still on 4s, you know, 4s and 3s with Vicious. Seems fine. I just need to do a wound again to turn off their archery. So that's the plan. And in these combats, yeah, these guys blow right through these Palace Guard like they're made of nothing. It's actually pretty brutal, which I guess they have brutal, so that's fair. And I do roll the Green Lady first, obviously, but I only do 1 wound to her, so can't get rid of her. Don't double, or can she be wavered? But I don't box guard anyway. And we move on to the Palace Guard, who I blow right through and turn to face. The Green Lady, again, I do 1 wound to, so nothing to write home about. These guys, I think, do 6 wounds to the archers, which is pretty great, because I only have 12 attacks on 4s and 3s with Vicious. So yeah, 6 wounds, I'll take that. I don't get a wafer, but still pretty good. And right here, yeah, the Rhinosaurs just destroy this ASB. His anus will never be the same again. And right here in the center, yeah, I really need this one to work because the Tyranian Sea Guard spiked damage pretty hard last turn, and I don't know if I can take another charge. Thankfully for me, I do very well here. The Tyrants nail their 4+s, which is always a problem with 4+ units, and thankfully I get rid of these Sea Guard post-haste, so they're gone. And yeah, this guy does his job too. He goes into the mage here. He's got 5 attacks on 3s and 3s with Elite and blows right through the mage, thankfully. I actually overrun, and I think my overrun can, because of this, you can't really see it here because, you know, my bases, or the bases are placed wrong. Like, this one's on the tray, this one's facing the wrong way. But they have a slightly degenerating path that leads to these little Spear Elves, and I overrun into the Spear Elves, but I don't do anything to them because they're apparently immortal. But anyway, and here's a picture of the tape measure. But here is the end of turn 3 for the Salamanders. You can see that I've destroyed the mage on top of the hill on the right here. In the center, I've taken out the Tyranian Sea Guard, but I do make a big error, which is I turn the Ancients like this, which is just stupid. Because, and I, you know, honestly, I just wasn't paying that much attention at this point, but it was a bad mistake. I should have left them facing like this, so when the Dragon Riders came in, they would be charging into the flank and could not fit. So it would have been an illegal charge and it would have wasted a turn. But I do this because I'm like, well, I need to fight these, you know, these Spear Elves that are immortal. That's a good idea. So yeah, just a mistake there, and to add insult to injury, I decide to take the Tyrants and face this way, which is an area I definitely need help with, right? I've got the 2 hordes of of Rhinosaurs and Ancients versus some Archers and a Wizard. Definitely need the help there. Face that way, guys. Good job. They should be facing this way to get ready for the threat, but they're not. You can see, ooh, Looks like I only healed 4. I think I healed 5 and that die just got knocked. But I don't really remember that much. Yeah, and you can see, yeah, full end of turn. And we move on to turn 3 for the elves. So, yeah, you can see over here on the right, the spear elves go into my Gekota hunters. That's not going to be pretty. Just ignoring the firebrand. Screw him. The Draken Riders capitalize on my mistake and go into the Ancients, who are already sitting on 10 wounds. That's not pretty, with nothing to support them. Just dumb move. The Archers decide to countercharge into my Ancients, and I'm not sure about that, because right now I'm sitting in the woods, and if he countercharges, then I can countercharge him, which eliminates that -1 to hit. It might have been better just to sit still, right, and take it, because, I mean, I don't know, maybe he'll spike some damage through. I've already got 3 on me, I guess. He could spike it. They do hit on a 5. But, yeah, maybe a better idea to sit put in general, not in this particular setting. And that's about it. There aren't that many elves on the table. Oh, I forgot to mention this, which is the ASB here, the loot guy that decided to not move. It didn't move because the Gekota hunters fired off some shots and did a few wounds to him, which caused a waiver. So he's just chilling, waiting it out. And in this combat, yeah, they obliterate my Gekota hunters pretty easily. I think that's the 4th unit that they've got, 3rd unit? Yeah, 3rd unit. And then they turn to face I think they turn to face like this, so towards the table a little bit. Yep, the Draken Riders do what Draken Riders do and blow right through my Ancients, and stupid me, I'm not facing them, so no retribution for them. And the retribution of Syra will not come. The Archers do not do a whole lot here. I think they do 2 wounds, maybe, to my Ancients, and yeah, don't get that -17 or don't get through it, and have to back up. And here is the end of Elf turn 3. You can see I've lost quite a few Salamanders here, which is, you know, got no more Gekota hunters down there in the bottom right. My ancient regiment's gone. Thankfully, I transferred their token over to the Gekota, but still, things are looking a little grim in the center, although, and obviously on the right, I'm not really there except for this 1 firebrand. But on the left, pretty dominating, although I do need to get rid of those archers post-haste, so we'll see how it goes in turn 4. So turn 4, I had quite a few charges here. I couldn't fit everything into these archers, so obviously I just turned to face the Draken Riders, and this is sort of where my math fails me, where I take my what is it, Clan Lord, and go into his Draken Riders, and my idea here is that I'm a dash 15 because I'm fearless due to the formation, and I'm defense 5, right? So if I do at least 1 wound to him, I'm like, well, he's got 18 attacks, which is around 14 hits with elite, right? And then he's only got crush 1, so he wounds me, yeah, it's like 7 times and needs an 8 twice to get me. Seems good because I, you know, again, I've, well, this guy won't be wavered, so I guess, again, my math was super off, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, that'll work, but I'm forgetting that they have the Brew of Strength, which means that, nah, that's not what's going to happen here. He's got at least a +1 to wound, and that's just not pretty. I do, yeah, so I bring the Clan Lord over there, because I do need to make sure it's not, these Draken Riders are not flying, at least, because I need to protect this loot counter, and then grab this other one with something eventually. The Tyrants turn to face the Draken Riders, which is what they should have been doing in the first place, as do these Rhinosaurs, because they're not needed. Also, they couldn't fit. And this Battle Captain, along with the Rhinosaurs with Brew of Haste, and the last Ancients go into the Archers, looking to finish them off. It's a mild overcommit, but considering he has only the Draken Rider, like, I'd have to double 1 that top combat, or, you know, roll atrociously, and then also fail to wound the Draken Riders for this to really be a problem, as the forest is protecting me quite a bit here. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's a mild overcommit, I'll admit. But maybe I should have taken the Battle Captain and gone into the Green Lady, but I wasn't paying that much attention at this point. I was paying more attention to my beer count, which was a number that, you know, has something to do with something. But yeah, so I was into him. And I did forget about the Firebrand. So yeah, he's sitting on this hill, and I could have brought him around maybe to harass the Spear Elves a little bit, but yeah, Instead, he just sits there. I think my opponent also forgot to shoot at him with his bolt thrower, so both of us are just ignoring this guy at this point, I guess. And that's it. So in this combat, I end up doing 2 wounds to him, so get him up to 4. And, you know, that's interesting. Over here, thankfully, I get these guys to double 1 town, and I do not blow it, so I don't roll a double 1 there. But, well, it's not so yeah, so this is the end of the round. You can see I take my rhinosaurs and reform into a line of rhinosaurs, so all facing down the line. I take my ancients and face them this way, so they're facing towards the tokens, because I can rush over, grab the Gekotah token if the Gekotah decide to just turn this way and start running over here, or I can charge over here, right? Because I'm touching the woods, therefore I can see through them. The tyrants are still facing towards the fight, and that's about all I have. Oh, looks like I did remember about the firebrand at the last minute and went into this ASB again. I'm looking for a waiver to make sure that he can't get Banechant, because again, my math relies on, like, well, on average he does, you know, he'll need an 8 twice to break me, because, you know, silly me, brute strength's not a thing. And here we see elf turn 4. So elf turn 4, I did end up doing nothing to the ASB. I do a few wounds, but I don't get a waiver. But he can't loot, at least, because I do wound him in combat. The Spear Elves go into my Firebrand, looking to finish the job. The Dragon Riders go into my Clan Lord, looking to start the job. And then, otherwise, there's just sort of elf business. The Green Lady flies over here, or gets the Green Ron, to heal the Dragon Riders, who only have 4 wounds on them, but still, you know, enough is enough. And right behind this little piece of terrain, there is the Drain Life Wizard, who's going to cast some Drain Life onto the Ancients just to get the ball rolling, which seems fine to me. And that's about it. The Bolt Throwers, it looks like, maybe they're just poorly placed right now. I think that no, that's right. They actually have line of sight. This one got knocked a little bit, but line of sight onto my Tyrants and plan to shoot into them. So yeah, that combat looking pretty, and they walk right through this guy. So I think their kill count's up to 4 and quite a few points. So Spear Elves, get them while they're hot. And here, yeah, unfortunately, again, he has Brave Strength, which throws off all that math, and my opponent spikes these rolls and gets me to double 1s. So, but anyway, kills off my Clan Lord. It is a sacrifice that I'd prefer not to make, but that I will make. And you can actually see at the end of the combat here, I took this picture when he charged. This picture is after shooting. The Green Lady, with her heal 8 and elite, heals the Dragon Riders, who had 4 wounds on them, and now they're down to 2 because she's just that good. She gets half their wounds taken away. So good. And otherwise, we've got Ancients taking 1 wound from Drain Life, and I think that's... Oh, and my Tyrants took 2 wounds from his Bolt Thrower shooting him. So, and that's about it. Turn 5 for the Elves, or not the Elves, turn 5 for the Salamanders. So turn 5, I have a few options here. So because of this Elf ASB and the Green Lady, I can't fit this unit of Rhinosaurs, this unit of Tyrants, and the Ancients, right? So the Ancients are over here. They are in the flank of the Dragon Riders. I definitely want to do that, but they can't spread over anymore, which means that they're a bit of, you know, a bit of Tetris here. And because of this stupid house that I was trying to hide behind and did a poor job of, I can't spread any more this way to fit the Rhinosaurs in there as well. So I have to make a choice, and I decided in the end that I don't really want to send the Rhinosaurs over there, as it would be an overcommit, and the Tyrants are already there and be hard to, you know, extricate them from it. So instead, I take my Ancients, go into the flank, I take my Tyrants, go into the front, I move my Mage Priest over here to get a Banechant onto the Ancients, and I continue boot scooting with my Gekotah Hunters away with their prize, while I take the last horde of Rhinosaurs and just go over here and complete the damn mission. Since, you know, I've been stress testing this list a lot, meaning that I don't really play towards the mission, I just see how much damage I can take, how much damage I can deal. I think I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, I know what it does, let's actually play the mission. So I just run over there and grab it, or try to grab it. I'm, you know, not quite on it. But anyway, moving forward to the combat. So this one I'm looking forward to. Tyrants are interesting. Any 4+ unit with 18 attacks, right, that elemental range, is always an interesting go because they could do amazing things or they could just peter out. But at least they bring in the brutal, and then these ancients coming into the flank with 24 attacks, again on 4+s, but with vicious, and hopefully with Bane Chant they've got crush too. Unfortunately, I failed the Bane Chant, so that's the beginning of my troubles. But I do quite a few wounds to these. I do quite a few wounds to these guys and get them up to, I think, like 15-ish wounds. But here it is, 13 wounds. But here it is, I get a double 1. So again, this is not a double 1 to get that break, but it is a double 1 for the waiver. As they're a 15, granted I have brutal, so I guess it was a 1 to get to the waiver. But the problem with this double 1, it is devastating because these vicious, stupid spear elves have a flank onto my ancients. But the bigger issue is that these Draken Riders are fully capable of killing tyrants in one go. Especially tyrants that have 2 wounds on them, right? So it's just too much that they then charge me, right? Anyway, double 1s, strike again. So that's double 1-3 of the game, but the first one that's actually mattered. And I did it, which is unfortunate. And here's what the end of the turn looks like. The ancients have actually backed up a little bit, as of the tyrants, but maybe we didn't move them, but it's not that big of a deal. And we move on to turn 5 for the elves. So turn 5 for the elves is pretty easy. You can see that the the Draken Riders go into the tyrants, unfair, QQ. Then we've got these vicious little spear elves going into the flank of my ancients. That's not going to be pretty, especially as the loot is fully operational again. Although I think he goes for the loot on the Draken Riders, which is smart. You can see up here, oh, I actually forgot to mention this, is that my battle captain went into this stupid wizard. Let's roll. Yeah, my battle captain goes into this stupid wizard and does 1 wound, so yeah, take it, wizard. And yeah, so battle wizard then decides, well, screw you, battle captain, and goes into him, hoping it's 1 attack with elite can solve it. We'll see about that. It can't. But yep, and that's about it. There's not a lot of elves on the table, not a lot of lizards on the table, so yeah, it's a pretty scrummy game. Right here in this combat, yeah, due to, again, that double 1, he can get an easy charge. He does land the Bane Chant, so he's got Crushing 3 due to his Brew of Strength, and he pretty easily pops right through these tyrants, which is very unfortunate for me. And with the Ancients, actually he does this combat first, obviously, as I am Inspiring on the Ancients due to the formation, and he's got 60 attacks, which is excessive. 60 attacks on 4s and 5s with Elite. It's not the best dice, but my opponent actually rolls very well here and just pops right through them, which is, again, unfortunate for me. Clears up the center for him. But right here, the most important combat, yeah, don't get killed by a wizard. Don't get killed by a wizard. Do not get killed by a wizard. So, yep, I'm still ready to go. And here is what the end of turn 5 looks like. So the elves have retaken the center, they've taken the right, they currently have 1 token, but I only have, I also only have 1 token, right? Granted, the other one's pretty easy for me to get to, but I have this token on some Gekota hunters, and I no longer have any Inspiring on the table, because it's all dead. So, not the best right now. Yeah, and we'll see what happens in turn 6. So turn 6, as you might expect, I send my Rhinosaurs into the front of these stupid Draken Riders. It looks like they got healed quite a bit. I think they're actually only on 7 wounds, so they got healed for 6 from the Green Lady. But yep, they were sitting on 7. My battle captain just goes, I don't really want to fight wizards. It individuals this way, moves forward, nimbles, and charges the Loot Bearer, hoping to kill it off, maybe overrun into the Spear Elves, which would be Dynamite, although I think they're actually on 0 wounds now because of friggin' regen. But anyway, in this combat, thankfully I am able to Rhinosaur my way through it and just destroy the Draken Riders finally, and I sit and stare down these stupid Spear Elves for the last time. Yeah, here... Do I kill this guy? We'll have to wait. No, I do not. Oh yeah, that's right. This is where I hit and I hit with one attack and I fail to wound. So I do nothing to that loot, which is very, very, very unfortunate. I would have loved to kill it. I would have loved to waver it, but really I just wanted it to not be a loot this turn, as I do not want this unit of murder elves to have crushing against my rhinosaurs, but that's what happened. You can see that I'm fully loaded up with my my mage priest here because I've decided to Martyr's Prayer forever. I'm sitting on 20 wounds because screw it, why not? This die right here in the middle of the forest, that's nothing. That was to my ancients that died. I have taken the last loot cannon with my rhinosaurs, so just hoping to hold that on, and if there's a turn 7, walk off the hill. So moving on to turn 6 for the elves, it's pretty simple. We see the spear elves going into the rhinosaurs. You can see the, what is this, the ASB, yeah, looking to get Bane Chant here. His mage is looking to, I think he does have Fireball, since I think he Fireballs here, into my wizard, Whizbang. And then the green lady just sort of sits here and heals the ASB, since it doesn't really need to be anywhere and wants to have Inspire on these guys. Seems smart. And in this combat, I'm not sure what happened, so we'll have to see. Bam! Here's the first bit. My opponent does 4 wounds to me with Fireball or Drain Life, whatever, and boxcars it. So we're just sitting on 6 6s right here. Just funny. Kills off my Mage Priest. He is uninspired, so blap. And thankfully, yeah, these stupid Spear Elves do 10 wounds to my Rhinosaurs again. And thankfully, I'm on an 8, no reroll, and I hold, so that's great. And we move on to, sorry about that, my dog's barking at something. We move on to turn 7, since we rolled up. And turn 7, we see my Rhinosaurs getting countercharge into the Murder Elves, hoping to finish them off. But we'll see about that. We've got the other Rhinosaurs backing off the hill, and lastly we have my Gekota Hunters that just ran over here. And in the end of this combat, yeah, I don't end up killing off these Spear Elves, they're still ready to go, although I do think I get a waiver on this ASB with my Battle Captain, so that's good. No, I blow right through it, yeah, you can see I moved over here. I do end up doing 11 wounds to the Spear Elves, so I've done, what is that, like 20... 30-ish wounds, something like that, to these stupid Spear Elves, but yep, regen and heal, it's great. And blow right through over there, but these guys are just staring them out. My opponent doesn't have any recourse to actually get the tokens from me anymore, because, well, I guess he could have this wizard move over and use Fireball 10 to kill me off, but that's about it. And in turn 7 for the elves, he does just that, killing off my horde of Rhinosaurs, and then going with a quick Fireball into these Rhinosaurs, but unfortunately doesn't roll high enough to manage a even a check. So, and that is the end of the game. That is the end of the game. So yeah, I think this was pretty good. I definitely need to pay attention more with this army, as Salamanders can't really absorb those losses, and just in general, I just sort of float off in games and into beers. But yeah, I had quite a few tonight, or not tonight, but when I filmed this, also tonight. But yeah, anyway, the idea here is that I think that this army can hold objectives. I think it's pretty fun to play. I really like playing a bashy army. It's not really like the sort of herd bash where you just push it forward, right? It can't afford to absorb losses like that. Instead, it just sort of tanks ahead, hits you back, and then turns around and just slowly bleeds down until you're dead, in that classic Berserker fashion, which I enjoy greatly. And I hope you guys do too. Although next time, I'm not sure whether I'm going to play this army for the next battle report, as I've been cooking up something a little bit more interesting. Although probably not visually interesting, as I'm still not really painting that much. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.